These Russian activists have been singing this anti-Putin song by the feminist protest group Pussy Riot with new force since Russia's invasion of Ukraine. They've chosen a symbolic place in the French capital to make their voice heard. The Orthodox cathedral located at Quai Branly, an institution which also hosts the Russian embassy's cultural center.
Many people think that Russians agree with the war, but it isn't true. There are many who are against it. We want to say that openly wherever it's still possible, because unfortunately you can't do this today in Russia.
I want Putin to be tried and for his crimes to be brought to the attention of the whole world so that his regime can surely collapse as soon as possible.
Sevilla arrived in France last June and never thought he'd settle here. But since Putin announced the military mobilization, he's scared he'll be called up to fight and has now requested political asylum.
This mobilization is a disaster. On TV, they say only 300,000 qualified reservists will go. But that's a complete lie. They'll take people indiscriminately. Students, scientists. I'll be personally affected because I'm a reservist myself.
Another group of peace activists joined the gathering. They chose to wear black to show that they are in mourning.
This demonstration was organized by a feminist and anti-war movement. We're the sisters, widows and wives from Russia, a country that kills its own children and others' children.
Many Russian artists and intellectuals have gone into exile since the beginning of the conflict. Dasha, an illustrator, arrived in France last March. She expresses her opposition to the war and to state censorship through her work.
I
created this series, which for me represents the protest as it exists at the moment in my country. It shows that this protest is completely suppressed, and even that the people who are against it are a bit like these hanged animals, killed by another power.
Today
in Russia, it's impossible to be an artist and to express oneself. I have friends who are artists and teachers. I see how much they suffer, but they can't really say anything. If they do, they just resort to almost shameful roundabout ways of expressing themselves.
Dasha also taught French in Russia. She left everything behind to settle in the suburbs of Paris and has just been granted political asylum.
On the
24th of February, when I heard that Russia had attacked Ukraine, I really went crazy. I know a lot of Ukrainian artists. When your friends are being bombed by your own countrymen, you don't know what to say to them. It's just such a shame. A few months ago, André settled in the east of France. The accomplished mathematics and philosophy researcher was hired by the University of Nancy. He's part of the so-called Russian elite, who often are from big cities and who emigrated en masse after the invasion of Ukraine.
If you're not in a prison, so you're seen as just part of this large community of bad guys who are waging aggressive war. So I didn't want at all to be in that situation. So at that point, actually, there was not even some hesitation or something.
André is back at home with his wife Marina and their two daughters. This couple, both academics, left their comfortable life in St. Petersburg.
For me, going to work was a daily struggle. I had to either defend my point of view or smile and continue working. To continue became impossible for me. It's too difficult to breathe the same air as those who support death.
The most important part of this story is, of course, the real war, the real offensive against Ukraine. We should take a side. And this physical relocation was a part of this, right?
Marina and Andrea's exile is part of the brain drain that has hit Russia since February 24th. To add to this,
there has now been a massive exodus following the announcement of Russia's mobilization. The newspaper Novaya Gazeta says more than 260,000 Russians have fled the country since September 21st.